Good evening, Sarah.
Hi, Hannah.
How are you?
I'm okay. I'm really happy to talk to you today. I'm really excited.
Yes, I am too. And, at the same time, I think that, it's a very emotional moment for many Iranian people to see what's happening in Iran.
Definitely. I might cry at random times when we talk because it
Yeah,
feels very difficult to control the grief and the
yes.
pain and the suffering. And I know you understand it.
Oh, sure. Yes, I do. I mean, it's beyond belief what they're doing, really, to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, um, like, do you have like any, well, this is for also for, the Japanese audience today. And do you have any impression about Japan? By the way,
I
just
love Japan.
okay.
I, okay, it sounds so cliche, but there's so much about your culture, about your
Hmm.
identity, about your autonomy, the way you've kept your culture alive, the
Hmm.
way you're proud of who you are, about your food, your language, the way that like women fight back when they see misogyny in their culture and they're not afraid and they don't sit silently and
Oh,
they're
that's
not like
interesting.
it's lovely. I love mostly, especially Japanese women,
Hmm.
the women that I talk to, the women that come to like in my life who are Japanese, they are strong and they are just intelligent, and it's amazing to talk to people who understand what is happening in the world. People like you who understand why we are doing what we are doing. And a lot of people right now are so privileged and they're sitting in their lives and they don't care. And it's just always a breath of fresh air to just see somebody who cares and talks the way you talk about the
Yeah,
life you're
you
leading right
know,
now.
I don't think that, even I think that some TV stations are really cautious about what kind of image to release,
Yes.
really.
Yes. Yeah.
Or I don't know if they want to ever.
Yeah.
That's what TV
Yeah.
stations are really about. So, but it's not out of interest that I watch, but I think that, at the same time, it requires a lot of descriptions of what's going on.
Yes.
Otherwise, it's
Yeah.
horrifying. It's a
Yes.
murder, really,
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I know.
that we
And
witness online.
people don't want to there's so much pain and there's so much suffering and there's so much trauma,
Hmm.
and people are like, too much for me. I can't, my brain can't handle it anymore. I'm just gonna go
Yeah.
on TikTok and look at cat videos now.
Hmm.
And I understand that,
Hmm.
but you can't just not talk about what's happening in the world. You can't just pretend it's not happening and
Hmm.
think that it's just going to go away. It's real human suffering.
Yeah. It's, it's I I really, you know, ever since 2022, this is a really strange story. You know, I I was watching, well, I was not watching, but I was thinking about, what Navalny was going to go through actually, and what would happen to
Mhm.
him. I really did not want to think of him because of the result that would come out, at that time. And you know, some people were laughing online, it's only one person, he's a TV celebrity, all these things. Like there's no other, just, I
Yeah.
was very, it took so long to understand just even
Yeah.
about one person. But,
Yeah.
when you look at what's happening, to the Japanese people, it's very, I guess, not easy, but relatable when they think of
Hmm.
Russia, for example, or
Yes.
somewhere near them. But
Yeah.
I I don't think. Well, I think I have had really bad issues on like I guess that, I especially had like, I guess like mental trauma after witnessing to October 7th because
Mm-hmm.
all the nightmares that, came to my mind, I tried to forget about ISIS. I tried to forget about um you know um the UNRWA actually.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
UNRWA, I had problems, especially with UNRWA, because they start educating children to kill the certain
Yes.
group of
Yes.
people called Jewish
Yes.
people.
Yes. Yeah. And
I
the fact
mean,
that you know what UNRWA is, and I don't have to tell you who they are and what they do, because this is happening in the West. Like in Canada, people deny that this is a fact, that they are educating and brainwashing kids from a very young age to kill Jews, to look at them as less than. And what happened in October 7th, during the October 7th, and then after, the way people reacted to October 7th, to women being taken as slaves, as sex slaves,
mm,
because that was Islam allows. This is what is happening. Like it's part of the religion that
mm,
you can take sex slaves. This is
oh,
called what your right hand,
mm,
what your right hand possesses. There are like verses in the Quran that tells Muslims after something that you do, like what they did on October 7th, which is jihad, murdering Jews. This is no, it's a part of the religion. And then Westerners, especially activists in the West, were like, no, it didn't happen. Like, what do you mean it didn't happen? There's video.
mm,
Like they videoed, like they recorded themselves, they live streamed themselves, murdering children. What do you mean it didn't happen? No, it's propaganda. What do you mean it's propaganda? They did it.
yeah,
And the level of denial and then level of this, like, no, it didn't happen. We don't believe you. And then people started wearing keffiyehs in
mm,
Toronto. And I feel
yeah,
like I got whiplash every time. Like, what the hell is happening? Why are you? This is like having a swastika on your forehead. Do you not understand these people are terrorists? I'm like, no, they're freedom fighters. What? Rape is
mm,
not resistance. Like, how do I have to repeat again and again and again that rape is not resistance in 2023, 2024, 2025? Like, this doesn't make any sense to me anymore. Like, did we enter a different dimension and I just missed all the signs? Are we in Twilight Zone now? How is this even happening?
mm,
But the level of denial, because they wanted to think that Muslims or Palestinians are the victims, because it doesn't fit the narrative.
yeah. I mean, it's bad for the Palestinians, to me,
Yeah.
to be educated under such systems. And,
Yes.
I'm not saying that people are born ever since they were born, ever guilty ever since they were born. That's kind of like, I think, a part of justification, and at the
Yeah.
same time, it's terrible to say such things to,
Yeah.
people for being such, for
Yeah.
being. And, you know, I have never said that. Israel has never said that. But this problem is the constant threat, that's happening, stabbing, you know,
Yeah.
um, bombing, all these like terror, attacks. I
Yeah.
had actually a person, whom I invited to talk about the second intifada, and it's awful, really. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
and then this, some people say globalized intifada, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, do you understand what you're talking about? Do you understand how dangerous and how violent that language is? No, intifada doesn't mean freedom. Jihad doesn't mean just a struggle of your mind. It actually means murdering anybody who disagrees with you. It's violent.
Yeah,
And
and
for people, yeah, they don't, sorry to cut you off, Hannah, but the fact is, I was born and raised in a Muslim country. I'm an ex-Muslim. And the number of times people have been vestsplaining, that's the only word I can use at this point, my own religion, my own experiences, my own trauma to me, and telling me that you don't understand. Like, are you sure? I think you are the one who doesn't understand because I was raised and educated in this
Mm,
religion. I know what intifada is. I know what jihad is. You are the ones who are completely confused.
mm.
But
Well,
there's
that,
gaslighting.
well, I think that, you probably, have a lot more understandings than the Japanese, listeners, of course. And the Japanese listeners have not even probably read a word from Quran. And but I'm not going into Quran, but I really, um, you know, actually, some people, some news sources explained, October 7th as a part of kind of resistance by the Palestinians. And this is bad for the Palestinians too, really.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
mean, this is going to confuse people.
Yeah. They are just manipulating. Nobody cares about Palestinians, Hannah. That's
Mm,
the problem. Palestinians are a pawn. Hamas is a terrorist group. They are using Palestinians. They are manipulating the rest of the world. They are brainwashing everybody who are just, we used to call them useful idiots in the West. You are useful idiots. You listen, you believe, you follow, you come and say, rape is resistance now. These are freedom fighters. It's a resistance. And then I started calling them cosplaying morons because they started cosplaying our traumas in their kafiyas and they're trying to tell me. And I'm like, the useful idiot doesn't explain you guys anymore. You are cosplaying morons now.
yeah.
You think you're cosplaying a revolution and a resistance. It's not a resistance. It's murdering the Jews for who they are because
Yeah.
Islam says so.
I really wonder whether the words are, like paper, thin
Hmm.
right now, but words actually matter so much.
Yes.
And at the
Yes.
same time, that's why we have to be really careful about the propaganda, right?
Yes. Yes.
I don't think that it's easy not to be affected by propaganda really. And at
I
that,
Yeah,
yeah.
I couldn't agree with you more because they are so insidious and they are everywhere. And you have to be constantly aware that they're manipulating you.
Mm,
They are, and then you become paranoid. And
yeah.
that's not a way to live either. Like you want to be able to, I don't know, trust your at least social networks and I don't know, platforms, not the
Mm,
news outlets anymore, because you know where they come from and what's happening. But then you look at like BBC, for example, and you look at the way they are broadcasting news from inside Iran and the way they are pretending like nothing happened. Like, no, 60,000 people didn't die. The
mm,
regime is good with people. People are happy with the regime. I'm like, are you guys stupid or do you think we are stupid? Because that either one will have a different reaction from me.
mm,
And it's the propaganda is so insidious and it's so in every part of our lives that we have to repeat even the most basic facts.
mm,
The Jews do not deserve to be treated like this. They
yeah.
deserve to be safe. They deserve not to be attacked. They deserve not to live in shelters.
Mm,
Like, no people deserve to have shelters in their houses and live under such like fear that they get bombed constantly. How is this normal? Why is the world not saying anything about this?
mm, yeah. I mean, I I really, I really do not believe that people are, bad by birth. But
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, I believe that people could change,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
you know, and that's the important part, of, our lives. But, if, when I look at these, people who support Hamas and
Yeah.
also who support not it's not I when I first saw them it really sounded
Mhm.
intentional. It really sounded intentional. Somebody might have been doing it, might have been driving them to do it. But
Yeah.
it was really strange that, so many groups of people react to the incident at one time in one way,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
really sounded like, oh, that's propaganda, right? I
It's
mean,
suspicious. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, that's not
When
the
you
only reason
call
why, yeah.
when you call a nation who is
Mm-hmm.
actively decolonizing itself,
Mm-hmm.
they are part of the land. They belong to this land. They are decolonizing
Mm-hmm.
their country and living true to their own ethnicity and their own religion and their own. They've been there before everybody else in the Middle East. And for the Westerners to come and say that this is colonization and this is that like whatever Palestinians are doing or Hamas is doing is decolonizing. I'm like, do you not understand what Muslim colonization is? Do you guys only see it as colonization when the Westerners do it? If it's a white person who's done it, that's colonization, that's imperialism. But if Muslims have done it for 14 centuries, that's not. So
Mm,
Israelis trying to take back their own lands, decolonizing the states, like having their self-autonomy, having their self-determination. Why is this something bad? Haven't you been fighting for the same thing for the rest of the world? Why are you not fighting for it alongside Israelis as well? It's very confusing. And then you look at it and you look at all the different factors that are involved, and then you come to the conclusion that people are either very easily manipulated and brainwashed. I agree with you. People are not evil by birth,
mm,
but they do choose evil for various reasons.
yeah.
And it might be me having tried to survive this trauma that we are actively in right now.
Mm-hmm.
But at this point, I've come to the conclusion that the majority of people choose easy over good.
No, that's what
Whatever
many
is easy,
people, yeah, including some psychiatrists say.
yeah. They just want to have it easy. They don't want to have the difficult conversation. They don't want to think. They don't want to fight back. They don't want to rock the boat. They don't want to push. They just
Mm.
think it's the easiest answer, so it has to be accurate.
Yeah, they watch TikToks, and
Yes.
it's easy for, when there is such platform where people
Yes.
resort for information. I mean,
Yes.
it's at the same time easy for certain amount of like entity of the groups to spread wrong information.
Yes.
It's a kind
Yes.
of wrong
Yes.
information.
Yes.
So I really, think that it's very dangerous for people to just resort to one source of information. I don't do that.
Yes.
And of
Yeah.
course, even though I disagree, I read it sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, what you mentioned actually is very important, during this conversation was that, you mentioned colonization, right?
Yes.
I think
Yes.
that's a very important point that people need to understand, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, so, I mean, it's more of ideological colonization, right? You
Yeah.
mentioned, it's not just, physical colonization, but you mentioned
It's
about,
it's
right?
also physical, Hannah.
Yeah.
57 countries are Muslim countries now.
Hmm.
When it started 1400 years ago, there was one.
Yeah.
Saudi Arabia was originally a Muslim country. They had a prophet, they had the religion. How did it go to 57 countries now?
Mm.
That happened through colonization. It's called Islamic colonization. It's the
Yeah.
plan. They paused for years. They took over Iran. They took over Afghanistan. They took over Pakistan. Iran was Zoroastrian at the time. Pakistan was Buddhist. Look at like whatever they're doing when it goes over. Look at the north part of Africa.
Yeah.
The plan is for them to take over Africa. So if you look, the whole north part of Africa is now Islamic, and they're going down and they're murdering people. Look at what's happening in Sudan right now. So they are taking over, like Egypt wasn't Muslim. They were Coptic Christians. Now they're Muslims. So, and the Coptics are now a very small minority. In reality, it's they are taking over. 100 years ago, the Muslim Brotherhood created this plan.
Okay. Okay. Sorry. Yeah.
So they, sorry, I
You
forgot
know,
what I was
yeah,
talking.
it's very hard for, me to remember at the same time as well because of, when I think of something really shocking,
Yeah,
even um, when I thought, when I when I watched, what has happening, and
yeah,
one person, posted, when before, a video of himself, before committing suicide.
yeah,
I mean, it's not like surreal things happening, but when what happens, we have to think of what happens when a nation doesn't
yeah,
protect its people or, honor the free speech
yeah.
of the people or, I mean, respect of the lives.
We are far past that at this point, Hannah, because they don't look at us as the nation.
Yeah.
It's Islamic country. Everybody who is like me is not part of that country. And they told us at one point, get out of the country if you don't agree with us. And everybody who got murdered in the latest uprising in Iran, they were not considered part of the country. They were all considered apostates. And if you're an apostate in a country like Iran, apostasy is punishable by death in 12 Islamic countries right now. Iran is one of those countries. So they were killing apostates, and they're going to heaven when they kill apostates. That's one of the rulings in Islam. So they would kill easily anybody who is an apostate, who is not a Muslim, and they will go to heaven. So it's not for them a matter of that this is the biggest massacre committed by a government against their own people. But the problem is they are not our government. We want regime change in Iran. We've been wanting regime change in Iran for as long as I can remember. We've been fighting for that for a long time as well. So
So,
for them to kill people is just part of the law of the land. It's sanctioned.
because when when Khomeini took over the country, you know,
Hmm.
I think, a lot of people who say mixed, who had mixed feelings, different opinions at the time, um, you know, have a lot of, like, I guess, had a lot to think over, what's the
Hmm.
best option would be at this moment for the Iranian people, so that they will not get killed, really.
Yeah, yeah.
But, I'm really, I really wonder how, Khomeini deceived people so easily. I know that, well, well, it was not only that, but it's the prior regime that, collapsed because, well, it's kind of like really complex history.
Yes,
And it's not,
yes.
you know, I don't think that, people should be calling out, this kind of really regime as stupid, but
No.
yeah, I mean, revolution, just because people didn't know much about it, but
Yeah.
it was a real deception that.
It was, and people wanted to believe him because he came out and said, I'm just a moral leader. I'm
Mhm.
not going to take over. I'm not going to take control. I just want to lead people through this revolution. And this is a very similar narrative that we can hear now. I want to just lead people through this revolution. And then all the different factions that were fighting against the Shah thought he's powerful because the Shah was giving him that, like all the mullahs at the time, not him, but the Shah was giving, he was building mosques, he was giving mullahs the power because the Shah thought he could control the mullahs too. So
Mhm.
everybody thought they could just control these stupid people. Let's just get together, let's create this alliance. And then the left thought we could be their allies. And then the same way the Shah had thought that he could be allies with the mullahs. And they thought we'll bring Khomeini in, we'll just get this revolution done, and then he'll go and stay in that Qom, that city that's very religious. He'll be the spiritual leader, we'll have the control. Nobody could dream of the violence that this man had in himself. Like he
Mhm.
came in and he said, if you're not Muslim, you are not part of us. You deserve to die. You have to be Muslims. Like Iranian nationality doesn't exist anymore. We are all Muslims. That's our priority. And right off the bat, he started murdering people. And murdering people in scales that were unheard of. Like in the summer of 88, he executed around 50,000 people in one summer. Summary executions, 10-minute court dates. There's no lawyers, not nothing. There's just murdering people and putting them in mass graves.
Mhm.
50,000 people in one summer. And it's just the same thing happened like 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. They are doing the exact same thing. So for them, this kind of violence is very normal, part of who they are. For the rest of the world, it's incomprehensible. They can't understand how
Mhm.
this is happening. They don't believe this is happening. This kind of violence is happening because it's easier not to believe it.
I mean, so I mean, it's he abuses religion in a sense to control
Yeah.
people in
Yeah.
many ways, not just
Yeah.
favorably, but in this sense to legally he applies for rules against people. And then I have had a Kurdish journalist once on my podcast, and had never asked her in detail about what she felt in Iran, but what she told me was that she felt very like a subhuman, really.
There's a concept in Islam called dimitude,
Mm,
which I don't know if you have ever heard of dimitude or your listeners know about this. Dimitude means anybody who is not a Muslim needs to pay a kind of tax that they call jizya to the government in order to be protected from the government. This includes the Jews, the Baha'is, the Christians, anybody who is not Muslim. Kurds are Muslim, but they are Sunni, just like the Baluch. They are a different sect. And again, different sects of Islam have different hierarchy based on which country you're at. If you are in a major Sunni country like Iraq, Sunnis have the power. Shias get discriminated against. If Shias are in power in Iran,
mm,
Sunnis get discriminated against. And Kurds have right from the very beginning,
mm,
because they are, again, one of the biggest ethnicities on this planet, about 40 million Kurds. They don't have a state. And the regime looks at them as afraid because they have the power to take care of themselves. They understand who they are. They have a very strong sense of identity. This is not an ethnicity that they could just break, and they've been trying for 47 years.
mm,
And they use different labels like separatists, or you want to just have like, I don't, these are all red flags to me. Kurds should have the same right to self-determination that Jews have. The Druze should have the same rights to
mm,
self-determination and autonomy. Yazidis should have the same right. If the government cannot control them, cannot protect them, and all they are interested is in controlling them, which is what the government in Iran has been doing with the Kurds and the Baluch, they should have the right to self-autonomy and self-determination. It's their given right. I don't understand what the argument is about at all. To me, they should be allowed to feel safe because the government in Iran have been massacring Kurds for
yeah.
47 years. They do treat them like they're subhuman.
Yeah. I mean, when I heard about, her being, in Iran, I just felt that it was kind of like dangerous for her, really.
Yes, yes, it is. Like a lot of them get one of the first thing that happens is like they kill very easily. Look at what they did to Gina Masa Amini. She was Kurdish.
Oh,
They
yes,
just
right. Yeah.
they don't care. They kill. And if they find out that you are Kurdish or you're Baluch, they
Mhm.
actually do treat you very differently. Discrimination is part of
Mm.
everyday life.
I have one question actually about Mahamini.
Hmm.
She was, you know, yeah, I was reading about this that, she was Kurdish. That's one of the reasons why she was killed. But, you know, s- some Iranians actually,
Hmm.
Iranians, Iran, whether it's a propaganda or not, you know, um, I I don't know. Probably she's, she or he, I don't know the account. But I talked about Mahamini to her, this woman, this
Yeah.
account. And then, she said, "Oh, it's a strange incident. I don't know why she was killed."
She was killed because she was wearing her hijab improperly. They didn't kill her because she was Kurdish. She was killed because she was a woman.
Yeah.
And the regime kills women very easily. But because she was Kurdish, her people stood up behind her and they started talking about her, didn't let go. And the uprising started because they started protesting. Because they are a
Yeah,
people who
very,
understand, yeah, they are very unified. But
yeah.
she was murdered because of her improper hijab. That's simple. Because her hair was showing under her hijab. And the morality police arrested her, beat her. She died in prison. So in hospital, sorry. She died in a hospital.
Hmm.
And then they said, oh, she had some like stroke in her brain and it wasn't really, she wasn't beaten. I'm like, yeah, we all know what happens in the vans. We've all seen the videos. We've all been inside those vans. We know how women get beaten up. Like there's actual
Oh,
torture happening because you're a woman, because your hair is showing.
oh, the van that, these people just are
Or
thrown
yeah,
into.
yeah, yeah. Morality police. They arrest you because of the like they don't like you have too
Improper
much
something.
makeup.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're wearing nail polish. At one point, if we had white socks, they would arrest us. I wasn't
How
allowed to
do
wear
they know
white
that?
socks. They would look at you. They would look at your shoes. Pull up your
Oh,
pants. Let me see.
my goodness.
Like if I was walking on the street and if I had my glasses up on my hair like
Hmm.
this, they would arrest me.
Huh.
I had blue streaks in my hair, and once they tried to arrest me.
But you were about to?
Yeah, yeah, I got
Oh.
really lucky. I pulled another scarf on top of my scarf and covered my hair, and I talked to one of the women, and they let me go.
Oh.
And my dad always used to say, if they arrest you, you'll come back. They don't have
They
coffins.
start to chase you, right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, that's one way you're probably safer, if you just get out of the country.
Yes. Yeah. If you can, yes. But a lot
But
of people
but
can't.
yeah, that's one point. A
Yeah.
lot of people cannot, and a lot of
Yeah.
people have the right to live there.
Yes.
Both
Yeah.
ways.
Yeah. I have not been in touch with my family. I have not visited my own country in more than a decade and a half because I'm vocal about the regime, because I criticize the regime. I can't go back. I'm endangering everybody I know by
Yeah.
speaking up. Like, that's the kind of regime they are. Two activists in Canada have been murdered in the past 2 weeks because they are talking about the regime and they are against the regime.
I mean, it's an imminent threat to
Yes.
people's lives who,
Yes.
Iranians' lives who live
Yes.
just outside of Iran too. And it's
Yes.
not just, about, what's happening inside Iran, but, considering the safety of the people, there are so many IRGC members just floating around in this Western countries, and they work as spies. And
Yes.
then um, you know, I wonder what their benefit is really.
Money laundering. It's a lot
Yeah.
of there's a like Iran has the second biggest oil reserve,
Hmm.
second biggest gas reserve, and the third
Hmm.
biggest oil reserve in the
Yeah.
world. It's a lot of money, and they are laundering that money through Canada. Right now, there are 3,000 IRGC members in Canada or their family members who are laundering that money for them. And the government of Canada knows who these people are. And the government of Canada spent 6 years signing into law the designation that IRGC is a terrorist group. They voted about it, and then it took them 6 years for the prime minister to actually sign the papers because they didn't want to. And they signed the papers, and in the past 2 years, they have not deported one person. They have not investigated one person. It's just a paper they signed to shut us up because we were actively trying to lobby to get them to designate this group as a terrorist group. And they are a terrorist group in Canada, but nothing happens to them.
Mm.
Nobody gets deported. They keep coming. They have more and more people now in Canada that are actual IRGC members because they bring in money, millions of dollars. And Canada always chooses that money over our lives, over our safety.
Well, I'm not sure. You might have seen, I think, an internet TV, in Farsi, that had confession, by
Mm-hmm.
RGC senior officers, I guess, like daughter or something. She saw, there's just this year,
Mm-hmm.
she called and said she saw like a woman getting,
Mm-hmm.
her father raping her
Yeah.
then. And
Yeah.
I mean, she was crying
Yeah.
and, she said like she is still in Iran. I
Yeah.
mean, it's, to families, it might be, and, she was talking about her family and her father owning fake passports, lots of US dollars from.
Yes. Yes. Like their children are living all around the world,
Yeah,
luxurious lives. They have big houses,
yeah.
huge bank accounts, the latest kinds of cars, and the governments know who these people are. They got job in US universities. Why? These people are murdering my people. Why are their children working? Why are they working for you guys? Why are they not in prison? Why are they not going back? Like, why do you accept them amongst yourself? What's the message? That our lives doesn't matter. Our safety doesn't matter. As a Canadian citizen, I don't matter because I don't have any money. As far as I pay my taxes, that's all the government cares about. They bring in millions of dollars.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, really serious, and I'm not sure what it means, but, I'm not balancing people's lives here, but
Yeah.
I think that, well, expats' lives matter as well, but, it's not just, about somebody who is paying extra
Yeah.
taxes that,
Yeah. Yeah. And you know these are terrorists. You
Mhm.
know these are people who would kill. You know
Mhm.
these are people who are working for the regime
Yeah,
in this country. Like, why are you endangering your own citizens?
yeah. I mean, it's, um, yeah, like, it's terrible.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just do not have words on, what have been done for the last 47 years, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, when I was younger, I thought I never saw this, coming, this major wars or something more, I guess, there were regional wars constantly anywhere. But there was, well, I don't think that, well, actually was writing about this, but when, the regime collapses, for example,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
people would, well, I guess 2022 was the really, really right moment, one of the times that people were thinking,
Yeah.
when the regime would collapse in Russia.
Yeah.
But, I don't think that he ever, well, would succeed in it ultimately. Putin, I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
you know, even, he probably wanted to kill Navalny. He targeted him, intentionally.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we all pretend like, well, at this point, he was seriously targeting him.
Yeah.
And many of the Russian, the people who support Russian opposition, said, he's a major threat to Putin.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. And he
and
killed him. That easy.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And he
And,
is the person who is teaching IRGC. He's the person who is teaching the Islamic regime. Like his system, he is training all
mhm,
the the mullahs in Iran with everything they're doing. So whatever they know in Russia,
mhm,
they also know in Iran because their governments are working closely. And it's the same kind of danger.
yeah.
They're supporting each other however they can.
I mean, it's not just one face, but there are just, two
Yes.
faces because the Soviet Union has the ability to, develop propaganda very well,
Yes. Yes.
effectively. And,
Yes.
the Iran has been actively using this,
Yes.
way to create and, how to
Exactly.
promote propaganda, really.
Exactly. Yes. That's
And,
a very good assessment of the whole situation. Yes.
yeah, like when I was looking at some of, the opinions about Navalny, for example, like I just felt that, why are you speaking as, Putin expects,
Mm-hmm.
or,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
all the propaganda machine expects.
Yes. Yeah. I know.
So, I mean, there are such, and also Iran has, as you mentioned, very close links to the Soviet Union.
Yes.
Israel has been, devastatedly affected by that
Yes.
as well.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So, you know, it's just, yeah, like I just want to probably change the topic, but
Mm-hmm.
you often use the term, I guess, Islamo trauma, right?
Yes.
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 Could you probably describe the term, and also, how, well, how, probably the regime uses the religious dogma to inflict, psychological, control.
Trauma.
Yeah.
Yes. That's a very nice way to segue into this conversation because the word Islamophobia
Mm,
was promoted or has been promoted by the regime as part of that propaganda. They use the progressive language in the West. And they tell them if you talk about Islam, you
mhm.
are creating this irrational fear. So like homophobia bad,
Oh.
Islamophobia bad. Don't talk
Mhm,
about Islam. Don't criticize. Don't say anything negative about this religion. And an Iranian woman countered that word and said, we are not talking about Islamophobia. We are not creating Islamophobia.
mm,
We are talking about our own Islamo trauma. So
mm,
she used that word and she coined this word to talk about the religious trauma that we experience. I was 6 years old when they put me in hijab.
mhm,
I was 6 years old when they told me that I am responsible for the lust of all the men around me. And if they feel sexual lust towards me, and if they rape me, it's my fault. I was 6 years old when I was going to school that I learned that I'm worth half a man. Like I'm legally, systemically worth half a man in an Islamic country. My witness in court is half. I inherit half my brother. My husband can have four wives, and I
Mm,
can only have one husband. Like from a very young age, they brainwash you and they coerce you and they stigmatize you and they harass you and they teach you that you are worth nothing in this system, in this religion, because you're a woman. There's such misogyny. Same thing happens with gay and lesbians because it doesn't exist, because they kill you. You're not allowed to be gay or lesbian at all in this religion. Same thing happens with if you're Jews or if you are Christians living in an Islamic countries. We have dimitude. So we have different systems in place to control everybody. And it creates that thing in your head when like I've been in therapy
mm,
for years trying to understand that I'm worth being here. I deserve to be here. I'm a human. And you
mm,
always think, oh, that's something everybody should know.
mm,
But in reality, it changes the chemistry in your brain. It changes the way you look at the world. It changes the way you look at yourself. Because from a very young age, they teach you to say yes, to submit, to be subjugated completely. Do not ask questions. Do not criticize. Always be afraid. Always be frightened that you're going to die and you're going to go to hell. And you have to unlearn all these things. And that's actually religious trauma that teaches you you're worth nothing. You are nothing if you do not submit to Allah. You're
mm,
going to go to hell for asking questions. If your hair is showing, if two strands of hair are showing, they're going to burn you in hell for eternity. They're
mm,
going to hang you from your hair and they're going to pour molten lava down your throat. And that's the kind of psychological torture you are exposed to from a young age. I am 43 years old. I have a male guardian. My husband is my male guardian. In Islam, a woman always has a male guardian. My father was my male guardian. Now my husband is my male guardian. If he divorces me or if he dies, I'll go back to my father, my brother, my son, my uncle, my grandfather. A male in the family is my male guardian. What does that mean? If I want to get a passport, he needs to approve. If I want to get an education, he needs to approve. If I want to leave the house, he needs to approve. If I want to have a job, he needs to approve. If I want to have a medical procedure, my male guardian needs to approve. So I'm an invalid. I'm an imbecile.
mm,
I'm dependent on a man for the rest of my life. And it doesn't matter that I've been working for 23 years now. I've been supporting myself. I'm intelligent. I have a master's degree. I'm an activist. None of this matters. I have a male guardian who decides for me. And it changes the way you look at yourself. It changes the way you think about the reality of life. Because you have to constantly prove that I deserve to be here. I'm a human. I'm a full human. And we call that Islamotrauma. That's the lens through which you look at everything because it traumatizes you. It's like
mm.
PTSD.
Yeah.
I can't wear a hat, Hannah. It's like minus 40 degrees outside here in
Oh,
Toronto. I
yeah.
go outside. I can't wear a hat because it squishes my hair and I feel like I was wearing hijab and I have panic
Oh,
attacks. I walk down
mm,
the street and I have wind in my hair and I have panic attacks because I feel like, did I forget my hijab? Did I forget? Are they going to kill me? And
mhm,
then I have to remind myself to breathe. You are not in Iran. The morality police is not after you. It's okay. You don't have to wear a hijab.
mm.
And I don't think you'll ever get over it because it's PTSD. I'm working on it.
Yeah,
But the
you have to
effects,
live with it, really.
yes, for
Mm.
the rest of my life. Yeah. So that's what we call Islamotrauma. Very long answer, but there are a lot of different things involved in it.
Yeah, actually, what you said was pretty interesting was that, I I one thing was that, about, I'm sorry to go back to Russia, but it's not just about Russia. This is KGB,
I know.
propaganda
I
thing.
know. Yes. Yeah.
Like Khomeini to me, like, the product of KGB to me.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. You're right. Completely. So go back to Russia. That's absolutely right. Yes.
You know, one thing was that, there was an, ex just who a KGB officer who fled to the United States. He has been lecturing for a long time about, how to invade, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and that's not just by weapons, he says. It's by ideology.
Yes. Yes. That's part of the Muslim Brotherhoods. That's what I was talking about when we got
Oh yeah.
distracted as well. The Muslim Brotherhood has a 100-year plan. That's part of the colonization through the ideology, through immigration, through being refugees in different countries. That's why they're going to the Western countries so much. That's why they're giving birth so much. Because the Muslim Brotherhood has this 100-year plan that is out there for everybody to read,
Mm,
that they want to create this global Islamic caliphate.
yeah.
And they said, let's do this through ideology, let's do this through immigration, let's do this through universities and education and different ways
Mm,
to do it. So there is the Muslim Brotherhood, and then there's the Islamic regime who
mm,
does it through terror and I don't know, Houthis and Hezbollah and Hamas and
yeah.
I don't know, bombs and guns and murdering people.
Yeah.
But both ways work together.
Mhm.
So they are taking over the West. They are colonizing the West right now through ideology, through immigration.
And also, not just that, but I was listening to Hamas wives,
Mm-hmm.
it came out a while ago, but she
Yeah.
confessed to meeting Jesus Christ. That was a very interesting moment. It was because it sounds surreal. She
Yeah.
has been, Hamas's
Yeah.
wife, and you mentioned that you were taught about, having sexual relationship with the 6-year-old. That's
Yeah.
one of um one, I guess that will cause one mental issue to people.
Yeah, but that's the thing. In the West, if somebody
Mm,
tries to have sex with a 6-year-old, they are called a pedophile. They are arrested, they go to jail.
mhm,
In Iran, my father can marry me off to anybody he wants. I don't get to consent. I don't get to say yes or no at any age.
mm,
There's no minimum marital age. So they could marry a 6-year-old. They say don't have sex with them until 9. Khomeini has this in his book. He talks about the different ways that men can pleasure themselves, even with babies. It becomes very graphic. I don't know if your listeners are ready to hear this or not. And I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not going to get into details. But Khomeini has this in his book. It talks about how men can have sexual pleasures with toddlers, with infants,
mhm.
and this is halal or this is haram and this is how far you can go, and then when they're 9 years old you can actually marry them because Muhammad did that. Their prophet married a 6-year-old, and they say that he consummated the marriage the way they describe it when she was 9. She was 9 years old. There's no minimum age in many Muslim countries right now. It's normal. If you have a wife, like in Iran, we had the statistics when I was working on the gender apartheid campaign. We had the statistics, and it's like in 1 year, we had 1,250 girls from age 10 to 15 who gave birth
Mm,
in Iran. And then they were sent home with their husbands and their babies. Imagine a 10-year-old being sent home to her husband and with her baby.
yeah.
This is legal. This is normal. This is part, not normal, but this is part of the culture and the society because religion allows it, religion sanctions it.
You mentioned actually a lot about what Hamas' wife said, which was, telling, wearing hijab at,
Yeah.
6 years old. She was not allowed to go to school.
Mm-hmm.
She was in Gaza, and she was
Yeah.
not allowed to go to school. She had to constantly take care of her children.
Yeah.
She had 4 children, but um, and she, ultimately, just probably, I don't know, what changed her mind, but
Yeah.
and she said she didn't know about Jesus Christ before, but
Yeah.
it just slowly came into her mind all of a sudden. And it was a very interesting story of her, I guess not just converting herself, but her transition, of her mind, I guess,
Yeah,
in
to
many
free
ways.
herself. But
Yeah,
that's also like she would get killed
yes,
if they can find her, if they can put their hands on her, they will kill her because going back from Islam to any religion, atheism or any religion, is punishable by death in Islam. So
yeah,
she is exposing herself to an enormous amount of danger by talking about this as
yes.
well.
I mean, she is risking herself because
Yeah,
her husband, I think, died,
yeah,
in the fighting, and her father died too because her father was a core member of Hamas. But what you
yeah,
say in the story of upbringing is very
yeah,
close to what she was forced to do.
yeah,
And when I think of this, a lot of people say geographically, well, Gaza is not close to, Iran. Well,
yeah.
and then, say, there is no relevance. There is
Religion.
relevance. Yeah,
Yes,
no,
religion.
relevance. I mean, they are not related, they say.
Yeah,
There
yeah,
is, difference. But,
yeah. I
I
know.
really I really have to say that, you know, I mean, Hamas was created by Iran.
Thank you. Yes, yes. It's their baby. It's their like they're exactly the same thing.
Yeah,
It's just a proxy, and
yeah.
it's the exact same religion. Like this is happening in Iraq. 9-year-old girls are getting married off to adult men. It's legal now. They passed a law and they said 9-year-old children, girls can be married off. What is the common denominator between Iran and Iraq? Religion. Girls in Afghanistan are not allowed to go to school anymore. They can't leave the house. They can't look out the window because there are no windows anymore.
Mm,
Windows are called haram. They can't look out the road if they're outside. They can't have both eyes looking at the road. They have to cover at least one of their eyes.
mm,
They can't work. They can't get an education. They can't get out of the house. What's common between Iran and Afghanistan? Religion. It's the religion that tells them this is the way. And
mm,
everybody who says, but that's not the real Islam, oh, shut up. It is the real Islam. What else is the real Islam? What is the common denominator? It's child marriage. It's a gender apartheid. It's male guardianship laws. It's jihad. It's anti Semitism. It's misogyny. It's the violence. It's female genital mutilation. All of these things. It's the Quran and the Hadith and the Sunnah, the three things that create this religion, the Sharia law, the law that is behind this religion. And all of these countries are practicing it. And people who keep saying, but that's not the real Islam. Yes, it is.
mm.
It is the real Islam. You're just too uncomfortable to see the facts.
Yeah, I mean, um, in a sense, I think that, the Japanese government, doesn't, look at the religion sense, but I don't think that they ignore the part that, uh, the part of the crimes.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Yeah.
ultimately it's about preventive, how to prevent it. But
Yes.
I guess that it's very important for, them to probably protect, children, young
Yes.
girls from
Yes.
being attacked, really, physically.
Look at the UK. Look at the grooming
Oh,
gangs.
yeah. Just,
They're raping gangs. They are calling it grooming gangs, and they're like, no, they're actually Pakistani Muslim raping gangs. Call it what it is. Thousands of little white girls were raped and assaulted and groomed for decades. And
mm,
nobody did anything about it because they were afraid to be called Islamophobic and racist. So they gave their girls on a silver platter to all these people with this specific religion that says it's your birthright to assault women of different religion. It's your birthright to assault little girls. And
Yeah.
they thought talking about it is not polite. I'm like who cares?
Mm,
It is about the religion. You can't just prevent the crime by not talking about the cause. The cause of all these crimes is that the religion tells these men that it's your birthright to do all these things. Misogyny is not bad. Racism is not bad. Xenophobia is not bad. Anti-Semitism is not bad. Violence is not bad. You are the chosen one. Allah chose you. So go out and do whatever you want to do. We can't just ignore that and just say it's not that. No, that's why this crimes are happening all around the world.
yeah. I mean, you know, actually, I also have invited FBI, um, criminal psychologist. He
Yeah,
was talking about, talking a little bit about, the sexual, I guess, violent crimes or
yeah,
crimes that were committed by, who commits those crimes mainly,
yeah,
and
yeah.
statistically. He was talking about, he was not, he didn't get into that part because I really didn't get into it, but um, he was talking about that part of the problem in many ways.
Yeah.
I mean, he was not
Yeah.
talking about the religion itself, but he was talking about how many crimes,
Hmm.
committed against teenage girls by adult, you know,
Yes. Men. Yeah.
Muslim.
Of
Yeah.
a very certain religion. Yeah.
Yeah. But, I really, am to say if a person were to be peaceful, by
Hmm.
nature, and then I have to say that probably that's the nature of that person,
Yes.
really.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, because, like you were a Muslim, you're now like an atheist, but there are such people, right? There may be such
Yeah.
people if there is a choice of religion in Iran, for example, in the future.
Yes.
There may
Yeah.
be such people. And also, one thing, one good thing about, I guess, well, probably I really hope, well, probably should not be hoping, but I really hope that, Iran should be more secular, really.
We really hope so because the fight that we have right now, and I've seen this in a lot of places, like a lot of people comment online that they are trying to get rid of the religion, they're trying to rip Islam out because people are burning mosques. And I'm like, yes, we are actually trying to get rid of the religion because we understand that this religion has been an abomination in our country. They have colonized Iran for centuries, and we are trying to fight against the regime because we want regime change, and we are fighting against the religion because the religion has enslaved us. And I hope that Iran gets to have a secular democracy one day soon because people in Iran deserve to have that freedom. They deserve to have a democracy. And they deserve not to live under such religion that
Mm,
doesn't tolerate differences, doesn't tolerate change, doesn't threaten us, and doesn't kill us for changing our minds and not wanting to adhere to its violent ideology.
mm. See, like I have heard a lot of people say, please don't listen to the regime, after,
Hmm. Yeah.
especially the protests. I mean, please don't. Yeah, it's like, they are like a propaganda really machine.
Yes.
Create
Yes.
every sort of lie in
Yes.
every way possible all the time. But,
Yes.
um, what do you think of the current deal that is going to happen? Or, I mean, the nuclear deal.
That's such a betrayal to Iranians because they are going to appease the regime again. And I can't forgive that. Obama did this, Biden did this, like at
Mhm.
different times that people came out to the street and asked for help. Instead of standing with the people of Iran, the Western governments chose the regime. They have always chosen, they always appease the regime. And they just killed more than 60,000 people in Iran. And they're going to negotiate with them. Trump kept saying, help is on the way, help is on the way. And now he's saying, I'm hoping that we get an acceptable deal out of it. And the message is very clear to people like me. They kill you, they kill you. As long as they kill you, we don't care. JD Vance came out a couple of days ago and said, if the Iranian people want to have regime change or revolution, they have to do it themselves. We all care about just a nuclear deal. Like, so why did you encourage everybody to come out last month?
Mm.
Did you not care that they're killing people? People came out because they were hoping that the help is coming. And we can't just look at the way they are murdering everybody. It's a genocide. They are killing people who disagree with them, who are not followers of their religion. It is an actual genocide by definition. But people don't want to talk about it. They just want to have this regime and they want to have it in control. The regime kills us inside the country. They don't care. They want to have their deal with them. And to me, it's just another betrayal. They
Yeah.
don't care about our lives. My humanity is not something
Mm.
that matters in the West anymore.
Yeah, I mean, this part I really don't like, when there's, even, like the bloodshed is ignored with
Yes.
diplomacy. I mean, that's
Yeah.
something not
And
acceptable.
they are still killing people. Like they keep saying that the killing has stopped. No, they are still executing people. People that were arrested a month ago are being executed now. In what country, under what regime, under what government have you seen somebody getting arrested and executed in the same month? They would go to hospitals, from hospital bed to hospital bed, and shoot people in the head who were injured, who had come to the hospitals to ask for help. They started executing people in prisons because it would be faster
Yeah, and
before even
also
sending
the
them to
way
a
to
court.
hide people,
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah.
and also,
Mass graves. Yep. It's happening. Like there are a lot of people who are actually still looking for their dead and they can't find them, they can't locate them, and they're hiding the bodies. And the stories that we hear of the torture, women getting assaulted, their uterus being removed because they're trying to hide the torture evidence and the sexual assault evidence. Like, why? How do you make a deal with this government? What do you think will happen, that it's not your problem and then the next president has to deal with it 4 years from now?
yeah.
And they're just going to kill us. They'll kill people more and more, and nobody in the world cares. And I'm wondering what should happen for the world to actually take a look at Iranians and think, you deserve not to be murdered by your government. The UN is inviting the foreign minister, and we campaign and we remove the foreign minister, Iranian foreign minister, and they invite his deputy minister.
Mm.
The UN is giving them roles in different committees. I'm like, did you not see them? Did you not see any of the videos of
Yeah.
the dead people? They have murdered 200 little kids, Hannah, that are verified. It's a whole school of children. 12-year-old, 13-year-old, 3-year-old. Melina Assadi was 3 years old. She's
Mm.
dead. She's murdered by the regime. I'm like,
Mm.
how is this? How do you guys even, like, I don't even know how I wake up in the morning anymore. There's so
Yeah.
much grief and there's so much anger and there's so much rage. Like, all I can think about is just breathing. Just
Mm.
breathe through it because this is active trauma. I can't process it. I can't start healing from it. There's no healing from this. How do you heal from 60,000 people dying?
Mm.
When they said it's 43,000 people, because every day we woke up with new numbers and it's just more people getting verified, whose murder are getting verified. When it was 43,000, I asked ChatGPT, if I choose to honor one person every day, how long will it take me to honor 43,000 people? I'll remember their names, I'll make a story about them, I'll post something, I'll make a video. It will take me 117 years and 8 months when it was 43,000 people. It's now 60,000. Like, there's no justice. And I don't want to live in a world that justice doesn't exist then. How do we live as a human race without justice, without fairness?
I think that's one probably like ethical question that has been raised,
Hmm.
really,
Yeah. Yeah.
over the years. I think that, we don't pay for our lives.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay, people
Yeah.
don't have to pay for for their lives.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, they have the fundamental right to live.
Yeah.
And I think that's a constitutional right that should be
Yeah.
probably protected. But,
Yeah.
you know, even in, I guess, Gaza, people need to understand, you know, it's one way to just make an excuse for Hamas
Yeah.
to, just take out this Israel and,
Yeah.
call out, well, Israel is, like attacking, like with
Yeah.
weapons. But, weapons are used by Hamas too.
Yeah.
And yeah, by the way, this Hamas, the wife, this person, who used to be the wife of Hamas member, she converted, she crossed the border and
Uh-huh.
converted to Christianity herself.
Hmm.
But I think that that's, a choice she made, I mean. It's a choice
Yeah.
by her, really. And what was pretty interesting was her experience on meeting Jesus Christ looking at the moon in
Hmm.
her dream. That was
The
very
fact that
mystical.
she had the opportunity to even experience something like that,
Yes.
to make that change in her life. People take it for granted in the West that she could have this experience, that she could. I'm not going to talk about whether it's genuine or not, but the fact that she could actually go through this change.
Yeah.
We don't have that opportunity. We don't have that privilege in our countries.
Yeah.
And people take it for granted in the West. They think, oh, it's normal. Everybody should have it. Everybody should have it, but we don't. The real reality of our lives is that we don't
Yeah,
have that.
like
We can't.
see, like you mentioned, the trauma of wearing hijab. It's a
Yeah,
serious trauma, actually, when it comes to it, when you have
yeah,
panic attack. Like, uh, I mean, people, from just outside, people may
yeah.
think, oh, it's just a piece of cloth, over this, the head, and, if we wear that, that's not a problem, you know, and there was a broadcaster who was doing that, and I guess in Tehran, and
Mhm.
she just pretended like oh, nothing's happening, all these things. I don't think people should be doing that, really.
It's disingenuous. The fact
Mhm.
of the matter is that from a very young age, we are brainwashed. We are stigmatized. We are coerced. In a couple of countries on this planet, we are not allowed to remove our hijab. Iran doesn't allow women to remove their hijab. Women get killed if they have improper hijab, let alone removing their hijab. And Bushra Sheikh, this is the woman who was walking down the street in Iran a couple of days ago, yesterday, saying, "I don't have my hijab on, and I'm okay here." I'm like, yes,
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
you're
exactly.
spreading the
Yeah.
propaganda of the regime. That's why you don't have your hijab on. Otherwise, they would kill you. And we get harassed, we get imprisoned, we get lashed. Women in Iran get lashed 74 times. And there are pictures of their back. When you see it, it's all red because they've been lashed for not having their hijab properly. We get imprisoned. We get murdered. Honor killing is part of this religion. My father could kill me and tell the government she dishonored me. She removed her hijab. I killed her to restore hijab, to restore honor to the family. And he would not get punished because he's my male guardian and he's restored honor to the world. So you look at all the women who are getting murdered
Mhm.
because of hijab around the world. And I always say, for as long as even one woman is getting murdered, Aqsa Farvaz, she was in Canada. She was murdered by her father for removing her hijab, for wearing Western clothes. So
No.
you always look at all these women who are getting murdered even in Western countries. And then you think the hijab is not a choice. It's disingenuous. Anybody who says it's a choice, it's just a piece of cloth. It won't do anything. I'm going to put it on my hair. No, it diminishes my existence. It tells me that I'm less than. It tells me that somebody can control me. It's purity culture. It's rape culture. We don't tell women what to wear and what not to wear. That's not right in any country in the world. And if anybody comes and says, but I choose to wear hijab, then you are choosing to be complicit in my oppression. It's not a choice. For as long as one woman gets killed for hijab, it's not a choice. When they all just say, okay, nobody gets killed, nobody gets harassed, nobody gets stigmatized, nobody's forced to wear it,
Mm.
truly, nobody is forced to wear it. And then women can start choosing to wear it. And I believe that is a choice.
Yeah.
Otherwise, to me, it's just bragging about, I love my slavery.
Yeah, actually, Dr. Ainut Welf, she came to my
Mm,
podcast and, she was talking about this Zionism in
yeah.
Arab
I
nations.
love Einat Wilf. She is amazing. She's so smart.
Yes, she is.
She's amazing.
Yes. She was talking about this existence of Nazism in the Middle East in the
Yeah.
actual way, not just, the resonant of it or, you know, unpunished, really.
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the textbooks in Gaza, okay, it's not
Hmm.
about the justice, but it's
Yes.
the wrong, how wrong it is that you get
Yes.
sick of looking at it. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. And we actually had like Nazi fascist groups.
Yes.
Like right before World War II, during World War II, even in Iran, we had SS groups. They had the Nazi salute and they had their uniforms and everything. This is happening in Iran in the previous like regime. And they thought this is the right thing to do. This is good to do. This is okay. Whatever they're doing to the Jews, that's okay. Doesn't matter. They're doing the right thing. And anti-Semitism, anti-Zionism gets conflated, but it's the same thing.
Hmm.
You are just targeting the Jews for who they are because you think it's okay. No, Zionism, I'm a very proud Zionist. I wear my Star of David very proudly. I'm not Jewish. I'm not converting to Judaism.
Hmm.
But to me, they have the right not to be killed for who they are. It's that basic. And the people who are killing them are people who are killing me, who are killing my people. So when October 7th happened, I could feel in my bones what they're suffering, what they are going through.
Yes.
All the bombs, all the killings, all the like 1,200 people who were murdered, the hostages. I had the t-shirt for Bring Them Home. I would wear it as often as I could just to remind people that this is still happening. There are hostages, innocent people. And anybody who says, I'm not anti Semitic, I'm anti Zionist, it's the same thing.
Yes.
It's the exact same thing.
This is kind of what you said is very important. A lot of news media want to discern between,
Yeah.
Israel, the Jews are different,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
actually, it's not
Yeah. And it's the
ultimately
funny
true.
thing because I always like, I criticize their government.
Hmm.
They criticize their government. I said something about how Netanyahu said, we are with you
Hmm.
about Iranians, and he wasn't with us. And then I said, I'm sorry that I'm doing this because I know people use this against the Jews. But I'm criticizing Israel because I deserve better. I demand better. And all my Jewish friends who have kept me alive, by the way, Hannah, through the past month, people I've never met, who are rallying together on the internet, sending me the kindest, nicest messages. They are all supportive and they are like, yes, we actually agree with you. He said, we are with you. We are with you. We don't care if Iran keeps bombing us. We want Iran to be free of the regime. And they understand they are such amazing humans. And I'm always careful when if I have the slightest criticism about their government to separate that from Israel. Israel is not the government. He is a human being. He might make a mistake. I get to criticize a mistake that somebody makes. That's a very different thing. They always say it's a funny thing that the Jews say, if you have two Jews in a room, you have three ideas. Because they're always arguing and they're always criticizing and they're always analyzing.
Yeah,
And I love them for
they are
this.
open to discussions, really. Open.
Yes, yes. And they are so critical and they're always keeping themselves accountable,
Mm,
which I love about them. Nobody else does that in the Middle East. I don't know.
mm,
Nobody else holds themselves accountable. Jews are the only people in that region that understand what accountability is because they live in a culture that teaches them human values, very basic human rights. They understand that. They understand dignity. They understand autonomy. And it's so wonderful to have them on our side. They have kept me alive. Like the messages, the kindest messages I get from people like Jews in Australia, Jews in Israel, Jews in Canada, who keep messaging me and send me pictures of their cats or tell me to remember to eat. Don't forget to hydrate. Did you sleep enough last night? How are you feeling? And I feel
yeah,
like they see me. They see my pain. They understand.
yeah. You know, and, people like you know, I think that because of the geography, it's
Mhm.
very, very, I guess, different from Japan. Japan
Yeah.
is isolated, developed its history, but I think that, the area like, in the Middle East is, you know, the country changes, you
Hmm.
know, depending on the era.
Yeah.
And the territory changes. And I think that it's very hard for you know, people, I realize how hard it is to exist as, people who do not have their own sovereignty, in many ways.
Yes. Yes. And they are still trying to protect themselves from
Yes.
the rest of the world. And this is this small country who's lived through the most heinous crimes, the most traumatic experiences, and they have so much life. They have so much joy. And my only hope is that they can teach me how to get out of this grief and how to
Mm,
survive it and how to continue because I don't see myself coming out of the other end because I feel like I'm drowning every day.
yeah.
Like every day is a struggle. There are names after names after names, videos, pictures, dead people, family members who are grieving. I can't go back. I can't do anything. I feel hopeless. I feel desperate. And I feel like we are losing hope. They are appeasing the regime. There's no real opposition. It's just everything is so desperate. And then I look at the Jews, I look at the Israelis, I look at how they have survived grief that we can't even begin to imagine. And they're living this beautiful life and they're so filled with joy.
Mm,
And I feel like they give me hope that I can get out of the other end. It's not just empty words, it's not platitude, it's not just empty kindness. They've survived generation after generation,
yeah,
pogrom
it's
after
not,
pogrom.
yes, not just, the Holocaust that they went through, really.
No, no,
So,
no. It's centuries after centuries of pogroms
yes.
and violent attacks, murders, massacres, genocide, and they are still thriving. They are still one of the most intelligent groups of people out there. Look at the number of Nobel Prizes that they have won. Look at all their inventions. Look at how smart these people are as a group. And to me, that gives me hope. That tells me that there might be a way for me out of the
Mm.
pain that I feel stuck in right now. One day, maybe. And the fact that they don't leave me alone, Hannah. They just keep pushing me. They keep talking to me. They keep telling me I'm gonna make it. And one person at a time just keeps holding me up.
And also, what matters to actually, actually, it's not a matter of Iran, not just a
Yeah.
matter of Iran, what's happening, but, Iran has a lot of proxies, and,
Yes.
Hamas is just one fraction of it. And,
Yes.
at the same time, Israel is going to have to handle Hamas.
Yes.
It's not very easy, as it says, really.
Yes. They are not allowed to win.
Yeah.
And I can see that happening like in action. As soon as they get close to winning, they're stopped. They're forced to just pull back. It's Hamas, it's Hezbollah, it's Houthis. Like at one point, they were fighting with like five different things who are proxies of the regime. They're trying to protect the Druze from Syrian's leader because they put Jolani in a tie and suit and shaved his beard, and they completely forgot that he's ISIS. And they sent him back to Syria, and now he's killing the Kurds. Like,
The Druze,
look at,
yeah.
yeah, the Druze, look, Alawites. Like, he's murdering everybody. And again, nobody cares.
Yeah.
And it's the regime who's backing him. It's the Islamic regime who's backing Julani. And the West is like, whatever, we don't care. The only people who are standing between complete extermination of the Druze in
Hmm.
Syria and the government of Syria right now is Israel,
Yeah.
trying to help them, trying to, because the Druze cannot leave the land. Again, they are people of the land, they belong to the land. And
Yeah.
they're begging Israel to come and take over and take the country.
Yeah,
But
I
Israel is not
really
allowed to.
believe in, the Druze independence, really,
Yeah.
to be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah.
Many
Yes.
people do, I think,
They need to
ultimately.
have their own states. They deserve to have their own states.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking. One of my friends, Rania, is of the Druze, and we talked a while back in a podcast, and it's heartbreaking to see what they're going through, and they're begging the world to see them because they don't talk about who they are, they don't talk about their ethnicity, they don't talk about their religion, they don't, because they're a very close, protected, small minority, and
Mm.
they're getting murdered and nobody cares,
Yeah.
and it's heartbreaking. Leave them alone, let them live their lives. The same thing happened to the Yazidis.
Mm.
Murdered, a genocide, a complete genocide happening. And when their survivors come to Canada and want to talk, have speaking events, they get cancelled because they're called Islamophobic. Nadia Murad came to Canada and she wanted, Nadia Murad is a Yazidi woman who was a
Yes,
slave.
yeah. Yeah.
She won a Nobel Prize, I think. I think
Yes,
she
she
won the
did.
Nobel
She
Peace
did.
Prize.
Yes.
She wanted to talk in Canada and they canceled her event. They
Yes,
said it's
I know.
Islamophobic.
I
Like you
know. I
can't,
was
you,
surprised.
like we can't even talk about our own survival.
Yeah, I mean, what she went through is just horrible.
Yes, yeah, and they're still living in tents. The Yazidis are still living in tents.
Mhm.
They
Yes.
deserve to have their own small state and live their own lives in peace. Nobody deserves to live like this. The Kurds deserve to have their own state. If they want to, if they don't want to, if they want to be part of a federal government, I don't care. It's their right to choose.
Yeah, I think it's their right to choose, really.
Yeah.
I mean, for the same reason, as, Taiwan has the right to choose, really. I really
Yes.
believe.
Yes. Yeah.
So, but anyway, I think that I spared a lot of time of you.
That's okay. I really enjoyed talking with you, Anna. Thank you.
Okay, so yes, it was very meaningful, and I hope that people will not take this personally because, I have to be precautious because, I hope you will never get attacked, really, personally.
Thank you. Thank you.
And, I just don't. I have known people who have suffered from PTSD seriously.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
I just don't want that to happen, really. And
Yeah.
it's really bad, for people. So, it's in the evening and it's kind of late.
Yeah.
So I hope you have a peaceful evening and it's probably, yeah, it's weekend, so
Yeah. Yeah. I'll get some rest. Don't worry about it. I really appreciate you talking to me and having your listeners
yes,
understand
I
what's
hope
happening
that
in Iran. Yeah.
yeah, it's not just, a peaceful protest that is going on, really. It's brutality that is going on.
It's a massacre.
Yeah.
It's a crime against humanity, and people don't have anybody. People in Iran have nobody to speak for them and to stand up for them. And that's why when you come along and you are interested and you want to educate your listeners about what's happening in Iran, to me, that means the world because I can at least talk about all these people who've been murdered by the regime and not be whitewashed by the
Yes, that's
mainstream
important,
media.
really. Yes,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
important. I mean, talking about the facts and also what it,
Yes.
I mean, it's very important for people, not,
Yeah.
justification, no overstating, less
Yes.
stating.
Yes.
So,
Absolutely. Yes.
thank you very much, and I
Thank
hope
you.
you have a nice evening.
Enjoy your weekend, Hannah. Take care of yourself.
Thank you.